I didn't yell.
I didn't argue. I didn't even ask for a reason. I just left. No texts, no explanations, no dramatic goodbye. She assumed I was hurting, that I'd eventually reach out. That silence meant weakness. That I was waiting, hoping. What she never understood was that my silence wasn't defeat. It was my way of letting go. My way of making sure she'd feel the absence louder than any words ever could. Months later, she's the one chasing shadows. Calling, texting, asking mutual friends. Looking for the man she once believed wouldn't be hard to replace. But I'm no longer the man she walked away from. I changed the moment I chose to walk out of her life. There wasn't a dramatic breaking point. No big reveal. No catching her red-handed. No screaming match. It was a slow erosion. Trust slipping away piece by piece. The late nights that turned into early mornings. The conversations that felt like echoes. Words spoken but empty. The way she always flipped her phone's screen down. The strange hesitations in her laugh when I asked simple questions like where she'd been. At first, I brushed it off. Told myself not to overthink. But then one night, I couldn't ignore it anymore. I saw a message.
Short. Clear.
Unmistakable. I can't wait to see you again. Last night was amazing. My stomach knotted. My hands tensed. But I didn't lash out. I didn't throw anything. I didn't confront her. I just sat there, staring at the woman I had once given everything to, realizing she was never truly mine. That was the moment I made up my mind. I didn't need to get even. I didn't need an apology. I just needed to leave. To vanish from the space I had once called home. She came back late that night, just like all the others. I was still on the couch, phone in hand. That message burned into memory. I heard her heels click against the hardwood as she walked in, humming like nothing had changed, like she hadn't just given herself to someone else. "Hey," she said casually, dropping her bag. "You're still awake?" I looked up at her. Really looked. The woman I had loved. Shared dreams with. She was now a stranger. There was no remorse in her eyes. No guilt in her tone. She wasn't even pretending anymore. That was the real betrayal, not the cheating, but how easily she let me fade from her heart. She had already left me long before that message. "Yeah," I replied, standing. "Just thinking." She nodded, barely listening, already checking her phone. I didn't say another word. Just walked past her to the bedroom. I packed quietly. Not with rage, not with tears, just clarity. No loud doors, no chaos. Just calm decisions. And then I was gone. I only took what I needed, just the essentials. Clothes, personal items, nothing that would slow me down. I knew the second I closed that door behind me, it was for good. I wasn't coming back. Before I left, I paused for a moment to take one final look at the space we once shared. The bed we used to lie in, the walls that had soaked in our laughter and secrets, the small moments that once felt eternal. But standing there, none of it held meaning anymore. Without a sound, I walked to the door. My hand lingered over the knob for only a heartbeat. Then I turned it, stepped outside, and just like that, I was gone. No explanation, no parting words. Just silence. And that silence? That would haunt her more than any confrontation ever could. At first, she probably didn't notice. Maybe she was too caught up in the thrill of her new life, too sure of herself. Maybe she assumed I'd come back eventually, full of questions and pain, demanding reasons. But I didn't. And that's when the panic began. The first day, she may have thought I just needed space. By the second, she noticed the empty drawers. A week later, the calls began. The texts. "Please for a response. Where are you?
Can we talk? I'm sorry."
Please just say something. She wasn't prepared for this. She expected anger, maybe heartbreak, but not silence. She thought she'd be the one to decide when our story ended. But the moment I chose to disappear, I took that power from her. The longer I stayed quiet, the more frantic she became. Friends started reaching out to me, saying she was looking everywhere. She combed through our old memories, messages, photos, hoping to find something, anything. But I had left no clues. I had made sure there was nothing for her to grasp onto. And eventually, it hit her. She hadn't left me. I had left her. And that truth broke her. Weeks became months. Her messages kept coming, long, emotional apologies I never opened. She even started showing up at places we used to go, hoping to run into me. But every attempt was met with the same thing, silence. She wasn't the same woman anymore. That confident, decisive person was gone. Mutual friends told me how much she had changed, how deeply she regretted everything. One of them said, "She's miserable, man. She didn't think you'd really walk away." I only gave a slight smirk. That was her mistake. She thought I'd always be there. That love meant I would endure everything. But love doesn't mean staying where you're disrespected. While she was drowning in regret, I had already built something new. I knew this moment would come eventually. After months of searching, it was only a matter of time. I was sitting at a quiet cafe I'd grown fond of, part of the new life I had made for myself, when I heard her voice behind me.
Soft. Shaky.
"Oh my God, it's you." I didn't turn right away. I took a slow sip of coffee before glancing over my shoulder. And there she stood, frozen, shocked. She looked different. Not like I did. I looked grounded, at peace. She looked like someone who had been carrying regret far too long. "You just left," she said, stepping closer. No message. Nothing.
Do you know what that did to me?
I turned fully, calm, my expression unreadable. "Do you know what you did to me?" She had no answer. And she didn't need to say anything. We both knew the truth. This wasn't about the fact that I left. It was about the fact that I never came back. She sat down uninvited, her hands clutching the edge of the table. I could see it all in her. Nervousness, desperation. This was her last shot, and she knew it. "I've been looking for you," she said, voice barely above a whisper. "I know." Her brow furrowed. "You know?" I nodded slowly, sipping again. "Of course. I just didn't care." That hit her like a punch. She had prepared for anything, anger, coldness, even forgiveness. But not indifference. Not that I had truly moved on. "I know I hurt you," she said, voice trembling. "I made a mistake. The biggest mistake of my life. I don't expect you to forgive me. I just—" "Then why are you here?" I interrupted, my tone even. She faltered, breathing uneven. "Because I realized too late what I had." I gave a soft, bitter laugh, shaking my head.
No.
"You realized too late what you lost." Her eyes filled with tears. "I was selfish. I thought I needed more. I thought I was doing the right thing." I leaned in slightly. "Let me ask you something. If your life had turned out the way you wanted, if you never left, would you be here now?" She froze. Her fingers gripped the fabric of her dress. Her lips parted, then closed again. She didn't answer. She couldn't, because we both knew what the answer was. I stood slowly, adjusting my jacket. Her eyes widened, panic flickering across her face. "Please don't walk away again," she whispered. I looked down at her for a long moment. "You walked away first. The only difference now is that you finally regret it."
She didn't speak. Didn't argue.
Because this time she understood. It was truly over. I walked away, without looking back. She sat there, motionless, watching me disappear, just like I once watched her go. Only now, she was the one left behind. Her hands trembled as she reached for her water, but didn't drink. Her lips parted, maybe to call out. But there were no words left. Nothing could change what had already happened. She had spent so long thinking that if she could just find me again, apologize, everything could be fixed. But now she saw clearly some things are permanent. Some choices can't be undone. And as she stared at the empty seat I left behind, a single tear slid down her cheek. Not because she missed me, but because she missed the version of herself she was when she had me. And that person? Gone for good. Outside, I walked into the evening air, feeling lighter than I had in years. I hadn't shouted, hadn't sought revenge, hadn't wasted my breath. I simply left and never came back. And that kind of peace? That's the kind of closure no apology can touch. Some people don't mourn the loss of you. They mourn the loss of the life they had when you were still in it. Once you understand that, you'll stop looking back.